Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. Bitcoin has had the most continuous sell-off in its entire price history long term. Over 12 years of price action in Bitcoin's accumulation trend, and we have never seen this continuous of a sell-off. Today, we're going to be talking about what this means for the market moving forward. I'm going to be sharing with you guys a moving average that has proved to be the bottom of every single Bitcoin capitulation over the last 10 years, and really what it means for us moving forward on when and where we're going to see a bottom. If you're new and just find this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server or download my free ebook. Links are going to be provided for you in the description for both. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so what we're going to be talking about right off the bat is going to be the 200-week moving average. This is a very important indicator to watch for the basic trend of Bitcoin because it has proven to be a historical bottom inside of the Bitcoin trend for a long period of time. And when we look at the last 8 years of Bitcoin, what we notice here is Bitcoin, every single capitulation that it's had, really this was the bottom of our 2013 to 14 bear market. Then we bottomed right here at the beginning of 2015. This was a capitulation that we had. We did go briefly below it, but notice how on the weekly we did close above it. And then throughout our entire consolidation here, we ended up closing above it and really just kind of bouncing above this 200 week. It was really respected throughout this period of time. You know, we ultimately got a second attempt at capitulation. You know, these wicks took us pretty much within the middle range of our last capitulation. A little bit below this 200 week, but then we ended up going up into that new cycle. But we can see that kind of in the same effect, once our 2017 to 2018 bear market roll around, we noticed that what we saw here, the very bottom of our capitulation at 3,200 was pretty much right on top of that 200-week moving average once again. We ran up to 14K, we kind of came back down, and then when we had our March 2020 sell-off during COVID, that was really where this 200-week moving average proved to be a really important close. When we ended up getting this weekly close originally on this big red candle, notice how the wicks took us all the way down here to 32, or I should say 38. But once we ended up getting buyers stepping in here, they closed us pretty much right even here with the 200 week at $5,300. And then even when we got this second massive candle that came all the way back down here and then all the way up here at the same time, once again, we closed even pretty much at that 200-week moving average. Now, when we go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin over the last year, we can see that over the last, week, Bitcoin has really retested that same 200-week once again, and we're actually going below it. But what I think is going to end up playing out is pretty much the same thing that we saw here, that we saw here, that we saw here, that we saw here, but more comparable to what we saw right here and what we saw over here, where we did see these candles temporarily go below the 200 week, but I do believe that this is going to close above. We should get a bounce up in here. We'll close pretty even with this 200 week. And then that's really going to set and stage what's going to be taking place from here, guys, because I think that this 200 week is going to play an important role. You know, what happens if this was to become resistance or something? We could fall back down and retest another wick. You know, what would that mean? Could it mean for a much deeper low? At this point, guys, with us already coming down so low and retesting the all-time highs, or I should say the previous all-time highs, and then even coming back within that prior cycle, we retested this little resistance box. And it's not even much of a box. It was just these two candles that we got right before our first major breakout into new all-time highs. Now, with us coming back down and retesting this, we are back within the prior cycle, and with us never really seeing a real major blow off top, it's kind of hard to say exactly how much longer we're going to stay below this, but history has shown us that we've closed above this every time we've hit it, and so it's going to be interesting to see exactly what takes place from here. But my guess is, based off of the last 8 years of the trend, we've closed above. That's not to say that we can't close below, because we've also, for the first time, actually retested a previous all-time high in a prior cycle. That was something that we have never, ever done in any of our prior cycles until now. So there are differences. You can't basically say that every cycle is going to be 100% the same because of the fact, this is the way that the prior cycles have been. In fact, that has proven us inside of this cycle that that's just something that we can't do anymore. What we see in this cycle is we have a lot more smart money stepping into the market. We have institutional investors. And so there's more profit taking that's going on, but there's more volatility. I mean, keep in mind, guys, that what we saw here at the very bottom of this cycle, we saw a run of like over 3x, something that we really hadn't done because we only sat sideways for about 3 months. So it was a very big move that we saw on the way up. Now, in the same way that we had a big move on the way up, we had a big move on the way down. We corrected 71%. That was, one of the biggest corrections that we'd ever seen in a bull market at the time. And so for us to see this same sort of pattern playing out where basically what we saw was this massive one wave. And you can look at this cycle a couple different ways. You can look at this as being a wave 3, wave 4, and we're still getting a wave 5. Or you can look at this as being wave 1, wave 3, wave 4, and then this was our wave 5. The move to 69,000 was our wave 5. It was just a lot of profit taking. You can look at it either way. And really there's a call for it no matter what. Basically an invalidation point for this being a big wave 3 and wave 4 correction before wave 5 is if this ends up crossing in between wave 1, then that would invalidate the wave count. Inside of a wave 4 correction, you really don't want to see us come all the way back in within the one wave because that would invalidate it. We have to hold support above it. And so if this really was just a heavy profit taking wave 5, we didn't see a really big move into price discovery that we were expected to see, like we saw here, like we saw here. The move on the downside most likely won't be quite as bad as what we've seen in prior bear markets. But I mean, where we're at today, it really isn't even that far off. This correction is about 74%. And so prior bear markets have been about mid 80s. And the last one was pretty much about the same as that, mid 84%. And so if we didn't see a major blow off top, it's going to be interesting to see whether we're going to see the same size of a bear market on the way down. Or, what the wave count actually is. Because this could be a wave 4. And we could still be waiting for another wave 5 kind of in here. So I think that the 200 week is going to be a really important level to watch. As we watch our consolidation from this level, if we can bounce back up in here, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a swing back up into resistance. And then closer towards the end of the year, we did get a retest of our low, similar to what we saw back in 2014, 2015 timeframes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that play out around this 200 week. We saw the same sort of trending playing out in the early part of our cycle right here. And so I believe that this is something we should be watching out for moving forward from there. Now, moving into the next chart on today's video, this is the total market cap of crypto. And I wanted to talk about this because there's two converging points. Now, one, we're finally retesting the 200 week, and the difference between Bitcoin and the total market cap is the total market cap is actually on support of the 200 week, whereas Bitcoin is actually below it. Now, I believe Bitcoin's going to just close above it like we have. This is something Bitcoin's done many times in history, so it's nothing to worry about. But with the total market cap kind of sitting on support of it, I think that that shows the ultimate resolution of where this will take. Now, what I find is interesting is not only are we sitting on support of the 200 week, but we're also retesting a previous all-time high in the last cycle. So these are two converging points that I believe is going to ultimately resolve in some sort of support. Now, I'm not saying that this can't go a little bit lower because we still have plenty of price action left to go for Bitcoin. We haven't proved anything inside of Bitcoin yet. And so we're going to watch and see exactly what's going to take place. But I believe that this is an important thing to watch out for, the fact that we're retesting a previous all-time high. And this will be the first time we've ever done that in sort of a crypto cycle. So if you're really worried about everything going on, you're somebody like me that's been holding throughout this, I don't think that now is the time by any means to be selling, especially as we're retesting this 200-week moving average, which historically has proven to be a major support in our cycles. The total market cap hasn't been able to show a real length of time of us actually riding this, but Bitcoin has, and Bitcoin has proven that this is an important thing to be watching out for. So with this also retesting it, this being also the total market cap, we could see altcoins drag for a lower low. That's something that we definitely see and have seen in prior cycles. As Bitcoin usually first starts to break out, altcoins will kind of lag. And that's something that historically has just been the thing we've been accustomed to seeing. So This chart could be affected by that. You know, the total market cap might bounce up a little bit, but it might end up kind of bouncing around this 200 week, whereas altcoins might end up closing below it and going for a little deeper lower low, something like that. And so these are all just things to be watching out for. Regardless, once again, I like to remind you that where we're sitting at from the total market cap all the way down is about 74% correction. We're also sitting on our previous all-time high and the 200 week. I believe that these are going to be at least signs for a short-term bounce. So if you're super worried that you need to get out, I'd wait for the bounce back up, because I do believe that we're going to get something along the lines of like that, even if this ultimately resolves with us coming all the way back down in some sort of consolidation to retest this low again, or even temporarily go below it for another capitulation. Anything is possible. These are all just the things I'm pointing out because I'm watching for the most. Now, once again, guys, a chart that we need to pay attention for, I think it's one of the most important charts to pay attention for, is the dollar index. Now, one of the big things that we're watching for here is if this is just going to continue to break out. So far, the price has continued to break out. We've seen a higher high in price. This ended up just being a retest of our previous all-time highs, and this was a move back up. Now, we don't have anything confirmed yet. What we see based off of our indicators, even though the price did make a short-term higher high, we did have this short-term correction back down, but none of our indicators have broken out. Keep in mind that this is something that can definitely change. Our OBV retested our previous highs and then kind of pulled back. This isn't any sort of a strong signal by any means. If it was a strong bearish signal, then this would have made a much shorter, lower high, whereas this is just pretty much a retest of the one. And so as long as the price continues to go higher, then the OBV will break out. And if the OBV breaks out and continues to kind of show support down in here, then in my opinion, that'll show the direction of where the price is going to go. Now, we also have our short-term bearish divergence on the RSI. But the problem with the RSI is it can stay overbought or oversold for long periods of time. And so this was our first bearish divergence that we formed here. That was when we saw this little correction right there. And now this is us retesting that little resistance once again. But this, in the price action, you know, the price could easily just continue to break out from this. And if we get a move like that, then all of these indicators are going to reset. They're just going to continue to trend higher like they already have. And then that's really what's going to set our move to 109 to 110. And that's been the level that I was watching for and telling you guys that if the dollar ends up breaking bullish, I believe that that would be the move that we would go to at least. This thing could run higher, but I think that that would be the move that we would go to. And if that were to happen, it's hard to say exactly what would happen with Bitcoin. You know, at this point, the market and the stocks have continued to go down. You know, we've seen lower lows, lower highs. We weren't able to ever break out of our resistance right here. And so with us kind of selling back down, you know, there's really nothing that's changing inside of this trend. But with the wave count, the way that I would look at this from here, I would look at this as being a wave 1, and then we're kind of finishing out our wave 5. Could be the end, or we could drag off a little bit lower. But this is ultimately going to be a correction that is completed that, you know, I will believe resolves from here. It's just going to have to ultimately just be decided when the dollar ends up topping, because this is really the thing dragging the markets down. Whenever the dollar is going to top is when the rest of the markets are going to bottom. You know, I would like to see the rest of the markets being crypto kind of find a bottom in here, because they've been dragging much lower than, you know, some of the other markets. They've been having a much continuous sell-off in here. But like I've stated, guys, with us coming back onto this level, I believe that this is going to end up resolving in more of a bullish sense, even if it ends up being a much more lengthy period of consolidation on this level. You know, after a big, consistent downtrend and a big sell-off like this, you're going to have to go through a period of resolution, whether it's a period like this was, whether it's a period like this was. Ultimately, I don't think it matters so much, and I don't think we should focus so much on that. The big thing we should focus on is simply just being able to get through this. And when we do start to see some nice bullish price action, you know, if you're someone really worried and you're over leveraged, then that's something that you could take some profits into, sell into. But for me, I'm not going to be selling on the 200 week, especially as this is proven to be something that you would much rather buy into. So anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. If you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. If you guys want to join the Discord server, download my free ebook. Links are in the description for that. You guys can also join my VIP group Follow all my trades that I take, all my Discord picks and things like that. Links are in the description for all of those. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for all of the support of this channel. If you guys have been kind of wondering where I've been, I was actually sick with COVID. So for the last week, I've been pretty sick. So that's why I haven't been able to make uploads. But I'm feeling a little bit better. Wanted to give you guys an update, especially after the massive volatility we saw last week. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for the support. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.